Welcome to Military Spouse World 1-to-1, a weekday podcast featuring a military family shaker and mover, helping you navigate this amazing chapter in life. Here's your host, Dave Etter.
On today's episode of Spouse World 1-to-1, we catch up with Erin Whitehead. You know her from her podcast, Braless Unhooked and Unleashed. We chat for a bit, we find out a little bit about Erin, and then we find out about her podcast. Hello, Erin. How are you?
I'm good, Dave. How are you?
Outstanding. Been a while since we talked. So What have you been doing since then?
Oh, gosh, we've had a crazy year. I'll tell you, last year when I saw you at MSOI, we were at the Military Spouse of the Year Awards. We had been living for a year doing the Geo Bachelor thing because my husband was getting ready to retire from the Marine Corps. So I was living in Florida with the girls so that my youngest could start high school. My husband was living in a camper in Arizona. Boy. And we did that for a whole year. And you know, it was a tough year, but we are so glad we did it because our kids are thriving. And now my husband is retired. He retired in June, and we are in our forever home and, 30 minutes from the beach. Yeah. My husband tries to call it the retirement home. And I said, hey, listen, you can do that. But retirement home, I am way too young and amazing to be in a retirement home. Thank you very much. He can go sit in the retirement home. My husband is actually a full-time student now, so that's really good. He's going to school using his GI Bill benefit.
Good for him.
Yeah. So he has that brain power still going. He's working hard at that. So we're enjoying it. We bought our 5 acres in Florida, and we have our nice little home now. And I'm just going to be buried in the backyard because I'm never doing that PCS thing again. I don't want to move ever again if I can ever help it. So I'm done with that part of life. And we're, the transition out of the military life, there's some difficulties. I mean, we went from living apart for almost an entire year to my husband's home every day at 11 o'clock. And I work from home.
Right.
So that's a challenge. I mean, we've had some moments where I'm like, don't you need to go somewhere?
Yes,
but then I'm grateful also to not be the only parent at home and to have all those responsibilities. And I'm grateful that he's not missing out on all that stuff anymore. We have a teenager and a 5-year-old, and my teenager always says, my younger sister is going to have a much different life than I did. Dad's going to be here for everything. She's never going to have to move. She's going to start kindergarten in one place and graduate in the same town from high school. And it's a totally different experience for both of them. So,
right, and little does she know that that's what is actually considered normal, not the nomadic life of the military person.
Yeah.
I'm proud of him for deciding to go back to school and all. My wife and I, I'm ex-military, and so I had been out for a long time. I met her. We got married. It was 18 years ago. She joined the Army 6 years ago. So we had all of that time together up until the time where she joined the military, and she's been dreading getting deployed, but she happens to be in the type of position in the Army. She's a respiratory therapist, so she'll probably never get deployed. Not proper deployed. She'll go maybe to a forward operating hospital, but that's about it.
Yeah. Well,
they
that's
may not,
good.
even then, those type of hospitals, they stabilize people to send them back. And so we're probably as close to being deployed as possible right now, being in Germany at launch school.
Yeah.
So maybe I could look at this as her being deployed. Only she got to take me.
She got to take you with. We loved many things about the military life, mostly just the people that we met and the relationships that we've gleaned from it, and all the people that will be in our life forever and their family now. And so that was great. But we are very glad to. Oh, yeah. We are just glad now to have our roots planted and be in one place. We're just loving that. That's wonderful.
And speaking of opportunities only available to military spouses and military families, Amican Military Spouses Choir, you're an original member of that.
I am an original member. When my daughter, who's now 5, was only a couple of weeks old, I answered an ad on Facebook, I think, that said, are you a military spouse? Do you love to sing? Would you like to sing at the Kennedy Center? I was like, yes. Check all those boxes. And I got my information in, and I auditioned, and I made it and practiced my music and went up to D.C. and we went into rehearsal with, this group of, I think, maybe 50, 60 spouses at the time. I'm not sure. All military spouses. We sat down. We started to sing this music. It was a piece of music by a man named David Foster. If you know who that is, he's the one that wrote the soundtrack to The Bodyguard. So,
Right.
Okay. And
Good
he had written
stuff.
this piece. Yeah, he wrote this piece called The Promise That We Make, that he wanted a group of military spouses to sing in honor of their husbands at the time. We didn't have any male members at the time. We sang it, performed it. They were really happy with it. We got to do a recording later that summer of it in D.C. We got a professional recording. So I was like, I'm now a professional recording artist. I mean, that's something, check it off my bucket list, right? And then since then, we were on AGT season 8. We made it to the semifinals, got to perform in New York City twice. I mean, here I am. I go home. I'm changing poopy diapers, right? And then I jump on a plane and I'm living in New York City for 11 days as an artist and a musician. I mean, it was just a dream come true. So we got to do that twice. And then since then, we've performed Queen Latifah's show, the French Embassy, the Kennedy Center a couple more times, and USO shows, the Bradley Awards, just a ton of different stuff that we've gotten to perform. I didn't get to perform with them this last time, but they performed a couple of weeks ago at the Bradley Awards again in the Kennedy Center. So it's still going strong. We have a core group of folks that I think it may be 30 or 40 spouses now. And because we're all military spouses, we can't always all be there. And so they'll put out a casting call and say, who can, perform this time? And we need 12 folks and these voices. And it's just it's a great opportunity. And we've been able to touch a lot of people.
Maybe you'll get a couple of more chances to go and perform with them now that you're settled down into Florida. You've got kids, 2 of them. I think it says here you've got ages 15 and ages 5. That's a 10-year difference between them.
Oh yeah, we had a big old surprise, Dave. My husband got home from Afghanistan. I was so proud of myself. I had gotten an IUD during his deployment. I was ready. We were never planning to have any more kids. And
wait, an IUD, doesn't that mean you're not supposed to have kids?
Well, it's
or
a
anymore,
well, no, it's a birth control device, and it's supposed to be very, very effective, like 99 point something %. And we were the lucky less than 1%. Yeah. So we can call that luck, or we can call that the determination of the United States Marine Corps. So whatever you want to say.
You dressed up all nice and purty for him on his return for a 7-month deployment.
7 months, yeah.
7-month deployment, and said, happy birthday, here's your surprise. And you give him kisses and loves and chocolate and dinner and hugs from your oldest. And then he gave you a present he'd been waiting on for 7 months to give you.
Yeah. And when I opened that present, Dave, I cried for 6 months.
I bet you did.
There is a big difference between being pregnant when you're 25, 26 years old and then being pregnant when you're 36. Your body just does not understand what you're doing. It's a totally different thing, and we had not planned on it. And I have a funny story to tell you. So, moms, if you've got like a 7-year-old in the car and you haven't discussed this with them, you may want to turn it off. I don't want to teach your kids something you don't want to teach beforehand.
Are we going to go rated M here?
We're going right into the birds and bees.
Because I try to keep a rated G here. So is this going to be like
totally
a G whiz?
It's totally rated G.
Okay.
But my daughter was 9 or 10 at the time when he was deployed, and she had been asking lots of questions about the birds and the bees, and I had been answering them with age appropriateness, like they tell you to do in all the books. But she was getting a little frustrated. I was not apparently answering them correctly, and she said, "Okay, Mom, look, I just want to know, how does a boy get a girl pregnant?" And so, okay, we went through it. I did it all. I told her the whole shebang. I wanted to vomit the whole time, right?
Pulled no punches?
No, pulled no punches. I wanted her to understand. Like, she knew. And after I was done explaining this whole thing, she said, "Oh, God, Mom, that is the most that's so gross." And, my husband said later, he's like, "I have never in my life been more happy to be deployed than at this very moment." I did not have to be there for that conversation. And so I explained to her, it's not gross when 2 people love each other. Of course, my husband's like, "No, why didn't you tell her it was gross? You should have told her it was gross." I said, I didn't want her to have a complex. And so, and then she says, "Well, you and Dad are done having kids, right? You don't want to have any more." And I'm like, "Yeah, we've always been a one and done. I wasn't going to do it anymore." And she looks at me and she says, "Oh, thank goodness you and Dad don't ever have to do that again," right?
Well, surprise.
I should have known that was a foreshadowing of things to come, because there we go, 8-9 months later, and we're announcing to her that we're going to have a baby. And she was thrilled. I mean, she's always wanted a brother or sister. She'd always wanted one. And even though she was thrilled and happy, I just can't imagine when she laid down to go to bed that night that she's thinking back to for that conversation. It's so funny. I love that story. That's a fun story.
I would have loved to have been a fly on the wall, but like your husband said, boy, deployed. Did
not want to be there for that
sure,
one.
Yeah.
Right.
I can just imagine what's going to happen when your youngest now gets old enough to start asking those questions, and the oldest looks at her and says, "You don't want to know."
Our little one is a Spitfire. I'll tell you what, she's going to be something. I can't even imagine when she starts to ask those questions.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I'll let Dad take that one. How about this time I'll let Dad handle that one? I don't think he'll be too on board for that plan.
That's funny. Speaking of funny, you're fixing to launch a podcast, a comedy podcast.
I am, and fixing to. Dave.
This month, you said sometime this month.
I'm just saying,
you just
using
won't tell
those
us
words.
when.
Oh, well, you know why?
No.
Because, life, right? So it's sometime this month.
Are you pregnant again?
No, I am.
Okay.
I will come through this microphone at you, Dave.
That's a quick and easy way to Germany.
I will come. That's right. I will. No, if you want to know when it's going to launch, you can go. I'll give you the title of it right now so that you kind of get a taste for it. It's called The Braless Podcast, Unhooked and Unleashed.
Oh, my.
Yeah. You can find us on Facebook at Braless Podcast or Twitter or Instagram at Braless Podcast and follow us there. And it is just ladies, we all know the best part of the day is when you come home and you get to unleash the beasts and you take that bra off. It's the best part of the day. And the podcast is all about having great conversations where we just sit back and we relax and we talk about all that crazy stuff that happens in our life, whether it's parenting or our job or what's on Facebook or politics. Nothing is off the table. And so it is not a podcast that you probably will be able to listen to with your little ones in the car. Unfortunately, this is time for mom or dad or whoever just to come in and enjoy some great conversation. The wine will speak. Yeah, that's right. So I'm launching that this month. I'm really excited about it. I'm nervous as all get out about it, but I'm going to make a ton of mistakes in doing this. So I'm just excited for everybody to come along on the journey and see how this unfolds. I'm really excited about it.
Well, maybe I can bring you back in a couple of months after you've got a few episodes under your belt, and
I'd love to do that.
We'll find out how it's going, and who knows, maybe gain you some more listeners.
Oh, that'd be wonderful. I appreciate it. Yeah, cool. I'd love to come back. This has been fun.
All right. Well, thank you, Erin. We'll go ahead and call it a show, and we'll bring you back sometime in the future. Erin, thank you very much for being on Spouse World 1-to-1. We'll talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, Dave.
You bet. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Military Spouse World 1-to-1 is a BDE Productions podcast. The views and opinions of the host or any of the guests are not that of BDE Productions or sponsors. Be sure to like this episode and subscribe to Spouse World 1-to-1.